Trades for round 19, and I will be using two, definitely. Now it's just a waiting game to see if that lovely minus symbol for Yo is going to change and if he's going to be playing. Sounds like the Cowboys players are all backing up. I did see that Cotter video apparently that he just got in that morning, so it was a big night celebrating for the Queensland boys. I wonder what the night would have been like for the New South Wales players. I'd imagine a much earlier bedtime. And those Queensland boys, but to see those guys back up, especially given they do get the extra day's break, which is good. So the Cowboys get all the way through until Saturday at 7:35. After what, he didn't sleep till Thursday morning. So yeah, gets at least the next day or two to recover. I doubt they'll do much training before that one. So if the Cowboys boys are backing up, it sounds like the Roosters players will as well. So if you are looking at guys like Crichton, like Watson, that's good news there. Cowboys players, it's less about the origin guys you're looking to pick. If we're looking down the line at guys like Jerome Luai, you'd imagine he does back up for that clash on Sunday afternoon. The Panthers then, Isaiah Yeo did play 80 minutes. The worry with him is more how many minutes he's going to play, I think, in this game. I think he will back up, and I think Cleary will play as well. But the question will be, mainly around Yo and how many minutes he does come through with. If you don't own Cleary yet, it is a decent little clash for him. Like if he does play, I think that he can score pretty well. And for Isaiah, that's who I do want in my side. You can see if you're watching on video, the trades that I have made, Isaiah Yo has come in along with Connor Watson. So they both slot straight into the mid section for me. And actually I've used the two trades to trade out Jazz Savunga and currently Joe Tarpanay with the 675. And the main reason for that is just to have the cash in the bank to make the move definitely of Latrell Mitchell into my side next week. And it will be at the expense of an Isaiah Yongi or a Savala or a Garrick, something like that in the side. And if I really, really want to, I think I could almost get a King Tonga to a Latrell as well in that case. So that's the general reason as to why Tarpanay goes first, is I think that if I'm bringing in Yo Watson this week and then I'm bringing in Payne Haas in round 21, that would then give me, and let's just say I leave my hook, mid and edge exactly as it is. That sits there with Clark, who has dual, Connor Watson, dual, Dylan Lucas, Nafahu White, Isaiah Yo, Terrell May, Zach Hosking, who probably is the one that could potentially move on eventually. But then Colin Matangi sitting there on the bench as well. If I'm then to add Payne Haas into the side, that gives me 3 lots of backup. 1 backup for hooker, but then 1 or 2 for each position there in mid and in edge. If I keep everything the same, and maybe one of a Nafahu White or a Zach Hosking gets the upgrade later down the track, or injuries come about to any of these players, and I can straight swap for other guys like Angus Crichton, who's at a good price. You've got Paddy Carrigans, you've got Jacob Preston, Eli Katoa, Adam Fanua-Blake, all these types of guys, both and more, that could come into the side very, very easily with injuries and the like. So looking at the side now with those 2 trades, if everything goes as planned, that would be my goal, just to get the third best mid, which is crazy, third best mid on one of the best scorers in the game. The third best scorer in the game right now is actually Cleary, followed by Herbie Farnworth, which is pretty crazy. So once I get Haas back in the side, I'll have the 4 best scorers, and then Isaiah Yo just falls just behind that one. Or just falls just behind Hudson Young, to be fair. But we do imagine Isaiah Yo outscores Young for the remainder of the season. And then small upgrades later down the track could involve that edge position that I said, with guys like Preston or Crichton or whatever else. And then Isaiah Katoa in half would be the other sort of upgrade that could be made. Latrell in wing fullback, I think he'll be a 60-plus guy for the remainder of the season, so that's where he comes into the fold. And I'm likely to sell one of the crazy amount of halves that I have, or the large amount of wing fullbacks or centres that I have in my side as well, with those guys that are on the fringe of keeper status, like Garrick, and then lower than that with Isaiah Yongi. Someone like Turbo at 460k, he feels like a very easy hold now for the year that has upside, like we saw last game with the 64. whereas Garrick is at a decent enough price to move on from. You see this week for myself, I'll be looping Farnworth in that first game, have him as the rather than just putting straight the straight vice captaincy on him in that first game. Just loop him for safety. I would also loop Hines if I could, but I cannot unless we hear that Cleary is out, and then I'm probably likely, I would definitely be looping him, but I'd likely take his score anyway rather than risking a Fainu or something like that who could go 30 odd. It could also go 60 as well, like he did last game. And the reason I would go Hines over Savala is to do with Sam Walker returning, and I think we'd be relying a little bit more on base stats from Savala than having the bigger base stats in tackles, rather than relying on a bit of the kicking that we've seen from him, a lot of the big numbers that we've seen. So I do think this week, guys, that if you manage to get 13 on the park, it will be a very, very strong situation for your team. Anyone who I'm seeing has 13, I expect rank gains this week, especially when, once the first game goes live tonight, we'll be able to see who has, so many green dots and whatever else in the top 1,000, and with a fair few people on 1 or 0 trades left, there will be a few issues that come about this week. And then, if you are able to, if you have to make a couple of trades this week, like myself, and you're getting ahead of the game, bringing in guys like Yo or Watson. The main reason for Watson, guys, is this week should be able to score pretty decent, lower minutes in Origin, but more for the fact that he has that hooker cover. And then if something does happen later down the track, when we've run out of trades or getting close to it, you don't have to trade for the 1 week suspension or the head knock or whatever else happens there. And we're very much hoping that Aaron Clark stays injury free for the rest of the season, but we know that it's a possibility that things like that can go wrong. And I'd rather have Watson, who's going to be a mid-50s type of scorer, than a Tavanga who could easily go a 3-game stretch to 30-odd, whereas Watson has a chance of going 30-odd in a game, but more likely than not, it's a 50 average at the low end, and then has chances of a 60 average, who can be played week to week, whereas Tavanga, you'd be worried if you had to play him on a week-to-week basis. And that's where you look at your side, and now that we're getting to the end of the bye period, put together your best side. So if that means mucking around with it, so go Colin Matangi in, let's just say he's a slightly better player in your side than what Nafahu White is. In my halves, I'd say Cleary and Hines are my 2 best. In my centres, you got Nwangi Tuwaze, and then in this one, you'd say Lucas is there, but otherwise it'd be clearly Herbie Farnworth would be in those 2 best slots. And then for the wing fullback, this would be my best 3. And then you have your backups like Garrick, like Turbo. In that slot, you got your backup in edge for Hosking, got the backup in mid for Nafahu White. Your backup in half is Savala right now. So you can just see where your little gaps are in your side as to where your best team is and where you might want to improve. So looking down at wing fullback, I'm wanting to get Latrell. It's more about just getting another really good scorer in the side, because the squad, the 5 back there right now are Campbell, Carraz, Tedesco, Farnworth, and Nwangi Tuwaze. They're all doing really well. And the other thing I could say there is that Campbell could slot up into the half position as well over the next few weeks. But then you do have the interchange that we'll be finally using again, the 1, 2, 3, and 4 to make 17 players. Then if you do have any suspensions, any guys on bye over the next 3 to 4 weeks, and obviously through the end of the season, but this next little period is when you're trying to establish your best 17. Most likely you won't need the loopers. You'll be looping guys at like a likely a 35 guy, whereas when we get our really good squads together by like round 22, 23, 24, having the odd player on a bye is going to be helpful when you have sort of 18 to 19 really decent scorers before the last few rounds there, where we do usually struggle a little bit to get quality 17s on the park. And then we know the last 2 weeks can be a bit difficult in general. So when you're making trades right now, it's all about getting to your best squad. And that's why I'm like, well, there's a good chance that Isaiah Yeo plays 50 minutes this week. If he does, hopefully he can get near a 50 mark. A bit more of a point per minute type of guy, rather than the longer conserve yourself a little bit more type of play that Isaiah can do on a every week that he plays the 80 minutes. So yeah, just look at your team. Where do you need the updates? I want Haas. I want Latrell. I'm looking at Isaiah Katoa, potentially one of these mids or edges, like I said. And then you do look at some of the cheaper guys. We've got Dylan Edwards at the cheaper wing fullback mark, but I have so many of those players right now, so personally it's not going to help me too much. You've got guys like Angus Crichton who are a little bit cheaper as well, and I'm so excited to see Trey Fuller play this week. Hammer's getting rested, so Trey gets put into that slot, which is so exciting to see. And then what are my chances of catching the top 10? Slim. What's the top 10? 16, 7, 7, 3. So I'm 533 points off that mark, which is good fun. So 16,240. The top 50, 16,240. It's so much closer this year, I feel, which is great. And hopefully for all of us, all the private crew, Andrew and Jake up top, they can hold there this week with the lack of trades. Then we've got a few of our other legends there with Harry in 22nd. With John, I saw down there, Les 31st, all doing some cracking work there. So yeah, love how it's working out at the moment for all of the crew, and squad values are in a decent spot, mid 14s for a lot of these guys, and I think that mid 14 is pretty well spot on for getting 17 really quality players. Like I feel like I look at my team and I'm pretty close across the board as to being in that correct position, which is good. What are you doing with trades this week, guys? I'll quickly show the private crew where we're at. Came into this week with 7 trades remaining, which is pretty crazy. And a few of the guys did suggest to get Angus Crichton this week. Another said Preston. I really liked both, but just with the trades that we were using this week, it was either keep Purdue or keep King Tonga. I don't mind the King Tonga sell. Right now, Purdue has been sold. Jack Bird could be another to be sold, but he's that bit cheaper. I don't know who's going to be more important. So yeah, maybe if the guys see this, we can make any adjustments to these trades. But right now, Tavanga and Purdue have been sold to Watson and Crichton. And that leaves the 222 in the bank, which is going to help us get Payne Haas back, and potentially we can look forward to getting a Latrell in this side. We have Fogarty, so the half spot isn't too bad. We've got Joe Tarpany that could be used as a guy to trade as well next week. The other thing I did hear, guys, is apparently some word around that Haas may not back up. It is 6:15, but I don't know why they would back him up this week against the Titans, given the situation that they've put themselves in by winning a lot of games, and the back issue that he's had, and they've needed him to get some wins, but hopefully Paddy can take a fair bit of that load, and they've got Walsh there that was only 18th man, so, and Willison's been playing great. Those types of guys there. They are missing Jensen, and then if they miss Haas as well, it'll be tougher for him, but they don't need him this week, so we'll see how that one plays out. It'll be 3 weeks out in a row, which would be pretty tough for owners. But it was known that they're going to miss 2 out of the 3, and then backing up, you don't know what you're going to get, 100 or a 49 with him. So yeah, that's the 2 trades that have been used so far. It does leave guys like Tarpane as trade bait for next week, guys like Garrick, guys like King Tonga to be used for upgrades. Yeah, I think generally we'll be all fine. Those types of decisions there. So yeah, I think there's not too much else to say on this trades video, guys. Short and sweet. Get the strategy, get my thoughts there. What are you doing this week? What are your plans over the next few? Have you got any point of difference type of guys? Are you looking at someone like Hudson Young at 777? Or are you looking a different direction? Thanks so much for tuning in for the trades video, guys. Enjoy. We're finally there. We are done with Origin. Bloody Blues. Sad. We'll go back to normal programming over the next, the final 8 weeks after this one, which will be good. So thanks, guys. We'll catch you in the next one.